Welcome, fifth graders, to entry task day 103. So let's take a look at problem number 1. Enter the quotient 561 divided by 25. So remember, on this, our whole goes in the house. So what is being divided goes in the house. And we're going to divide it by 20. So our divisor is 20 and our dividend is 561. So as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, how many 25s go into 500 without regrouping? Well, there are none. So what I usually do is I just put a little X there just to keep my place values lined up. Then I'm going to take a look at how many 25s go into 56. So, which is 56 tens. So I'm going to be counting by 25. So 25, 50. I have two 25s. 3 would be 75, which would be too high. So I want to get as close to that without going over. I'm going to subtract, and I'm left with 61. And now I want to know how many 25s go into 61. And again, I just did the math for that. I know that 2 25s is 50 and 3 is 75. So 3 25s would be too high. Now, in fifth grade, remember that we're going to take our remainder. There are no other numbers to bring down. We already brought down the 1, and we're not doing decimal division for this one. So I'm going to write my remainder as a fraction. So I have 11 out of 25 left over. So coming back over to my answer sheet, the quotient is 22 and 11 25ths. So there we go. Let's take a look at problem number 2. Problem number 2. Skywalker Ranch is in the shape of a rectangle. The width of the ranch is 9 3/5 miles. The length of the ranch is 5 miles. Enter the area in square miles of Skywalker Ranch. So we all know that the area of a rectangle is length times width. So I'm going to draw a diagram. And the dimensions, 9 3/5, and that's miles, by 5 miles. It's a big ranch. So we have 9 3/5 times 5. Now remember, as we look at this, we see, oh, I have a mixed number. And I'm going to use that distributive property to break those apart. So I have two things that I'm multiplying by 5. I have 9 times 5, and I have 3/5 times 5. So 9 times 5 is 45, and 3/5 times 5, 3 times 5 divided by 5, I hate when that happens. Like, that's a 5 there. I can cancel out my 5s. Let me redo this here. 3 times 5 over 5. I can cancel out my 5s, and I'm left with 3. So we have 45 plus 3, which equals 48 square miles. That is a big ranch. 45 square miles. And just like that. Problem number 3. Enter the sum, 5 4/8 plus 2 2/6. Let me erase this here. It's taking me a little while. Maybe there's an easier way to erase. If you guys know, you can message me and let me know. Okay, so I have 5 4/8 plus 2 2/6. So what do I need when I add or subtract fractions or mixed numbers? I need a common denominator. So the least common denominator between 5 4/8 and 2 2/6 is 24ths. So in order to get 24ths out of 8, I'm going to multiply by 3/3. And in order to get 24ths out of 6, I'm going to multiply by 4/4. So I have 5 and 12 24ths plus 2 and 8 24ths. Okay. So remember, I add my whole numbers. 5 plus 2 is 7. And then I'm going to add 12 plus 8, which is 20, over 24. Now I can simplify 20 24ths by dividing by 4, because 4 is the largest number that goes into both of those, the greatest common factor. And I have 7 and 5/6. Again, some of you might look at that, and I'm not going to do that right now, but you might see that you could reduce up here. We could reduce 4/8 to 1/2, and we could reduce 2/6 to 1/3, and we could end up with a common denominator of 6, which is what our answer is in. But for now, we'll just go with the method that I used. And problem number 4. Enter the number of inches equal to 2 2/3 feet. So what do we need to remember? We always write down what we are given first. So we are given 2 2/3 feet is equal to blank inches. I know 1 foot equals 12 inches. So I'm going to take 2 2/3 times 12. So remember, I'll have 2 times 12 plus 2/3 times 12. We have to decompose 2 2/3. So 24 2/3 of 12 is 8. 24 plus 8 is 32. So we end up with 2 2/3 feet being 32 inches. And that makes sense because I know that 2 feet is 24 inches. I know that 3 feet is 36 inches. Okay, problem, I'm going to get rid of my scratch pad there. Problem number 5. Which statement describes the value of the expression? And in our expression, we see we have a set of parentheses. So we're going to read what's in the parentheses first. And this is the sum of something, right? That is the sum. And that sum is being divided by 4. Or another way of saying that is we're finding 1/4 of it. Okay? So as we look at these, we can cross out A because we're not, we have to take what's in the parentheses together. We can cross out B, again, for that same reason. 524 is being added to 4,167, so we're finding the total of that. So we're left with C and D. The value is 1/4 as large as the sum of 4,167 and 524. And then D is the value is 1/4 as large as the product. So what we have to do again is we have to look at what's in parentheses, and that is not a product, that is a sum. So we're going to cross out D, and we are left with C as being the correct expression. 5th graders, good work today. Keep sharpening your mind.